What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we are going to be talking about something in my team. And I'm going to say this in a way that is, well, I'm going to say this video is going to piss off a lot of people, but I want to hear any sort of point against what I'm going to say, rather than just saying you're wrong or screw you. But competitive MyTEAM, in my opinion, is dead. It is absolutely dead. And I don't see it coming back for a long time. And I don't see, by competitive MyTEAM, I mean specifically the like outside of 250k, because 250k is an event more than anything. As I always say, 250k is a pure event, not a tournament. We'll never get back to the early 2K21 era, 2K20 era, where when two guys played in the MyTEAM Madness tournament, there was 150, 200 people watching. We're never going to get to the era where, like, wagers become, unless it's two big names versus each other, becomes like prime content. Because I'm like looking through Twitch, I'm looking at these comp players, and it's literally, this is what, from the outside looking in, I'm not in the comp community, I couldn't give a damn about it, I'm not gonna lie. The comp community seems like the same 10 people trading money around each other, or trading money around while playing the same, with the same style of 2K day after day after day. And it's tough because so many people from that community are streaming. It was a good way to grow back in the day. I just don't feel like it is anymore. Like, the guys from the community that are doing well, or that are like, there's a lot of people that are doing well, but that are seeing steady growth, aren't getting really their growth from playing in these wagers. They're either growing on YouTube, growing in another way. If you're Splash just for entertainment more than anything, he's good at, or he's entertaining and he's one of the best players in the world, which helps. He's not getting the views because he's one of the best players in the world. Guys like Nike are fun to watch, but very few are watching these guys because they're the best at it. And MyTEAM is probably, more than any other game, the game that nobody gives a damn about whether a person is good or not. And I stand by that. Like, if we look at the biggest MyTEAM creators last year, SB2K didn't play the game. Henry's not awful, but like not particularly great. Like, Henry would be probably in and around my level, maybe a little bit lower. Like, no, I'd say, no, he's probably a little bit better than me this year. In previous years, in and around my level. Let's just say in and around the same. Denver, we've had battles over the years. We've had close game after close game. There was not much in the difference. Those guys are booming. But we look at the competitive side, and other than Splash, who's just freaking hilarious, the growth just isn't there in terms of viewership. There'll always be money to be made in wagers. There will always be that. But the game mode of MyTEAM does not work well for competitive players. Competitive players are miserable. They're miserable. They hate the game. They hate loading up this game. They're absolutely miserable. But like, and the more they're miserable, the worse it is watching the streams. The worse the game is, the less people want to care if people are good or not at the game. And it just becomes like a cycle. And I think we're kind of seeing the end of the quote-unquote like comp wave in terms of the mentality towards MyTEAM. Like, for example, even today, for example, like, you would have thought, because of how good that dude was, Tim Thomas, everyone would have thought that because Tim Thomas is freaking God, I think everyone would have thought, because he is basically God disguised as a 2K player, that people would have been really, really hyped to watch Tim Thomas gameplays. Like, if we got a card like this in other years, like, everyone wanted to watch Hondo. When Hondo was a thing in my team, everyone wanted to watch Hondo because he had all these SIGs. He had all these, like, park player SIGs. Like, everyone was so excited about all these cards back in 21. Heck, even in 2K, at this stage in 2K20, we had nobody good. By the way, we had absolutely nobody good. This stage in 2K19, we had, like, Blake and Magic, I think. That were pretty, or not, maybe not even Magic, maybe just Blake. That was good. We didn't have much in November. But, like, Tim Thomas is this year's equivalent of, like, a Danny Ferry or a Hondo because of all of his SIGs. But nobody really cares. And it's like, sure, there's, like, no hype in my team, but no one even cares that the card is that good. Sure, his price is up, but in reality, people aren't even excited to get on and use these guys because they just don't really play the game. People are genuinely just playing this game offline. They're playing offline. They're just having the time of their lives. People are caring less and less about the database, the SIGs. People are caring less and less about looking for information on this game. And if people aren't caring about info, you better believe people don't care about people being good. The game mode, I think my team, I actually am not sure what's going to happen with my team. I think this year is going to be like a great reset of my team. I think the momentum that my team had going through pandemic years, but even pre-pandemic, like 2K18, I ended really well. People don't remember 2K18 in terms of viewership, in terms of relevance, ended really, really well. Then 2K19, the ball rolled into 20 really well because of the game being $3 at the end. Obviously 20 at the pandemic, 21 at the pandemic. So I think this is the first time we've seen like a huge step backwards in my team, because I think relevance with 2K has really taken a hit because of the pandemic. And let me explain why I think, because everyone's like, oh, it's just not the same. And I'm like, I actually do agree that it isn't the same. I think an awful lot of people that played 2K a ton during the pandemic are just burnt out of it. Like, real life is back. They can do things again. And they're burnt out of 2K. And the guys that were heavy on my team, a lot of them are burnt out on it. So I think it'll take a while. I think it'll take a while before my team's back where it is. But when it comes to all of these game modes, the competitive side normally comes after the fan base is there. So like when there's no fan base there were no people just playing the game. There's nobody really looking to get good at the game. And then there's no real competitive scene. And when there's no real competitive, and even people in the competitive scene, there's nobody watching the competitive scene. But then when loads of people are playing the game, there's like a small percent, there's like a chunk of them that are looking for info. And then there's a smaller chunk out of that are looking for like the top guys, looking to watch those guys, looking to be like those guys. The problem is when every one of those groups gets smaller and smaller and smaller, that competitive bubble has turned into such a small bubble that nobody really cares. That in the grand scheme of things, no, like it's irrelevant. It is absolutely irrelevant. Like the triple threat offline community is bigger than the freaking competitive community in reality. So yeah, I think this year is almost like a reset button for my team because we're fully out of the pandemic. An awful lot of people that played through 2K20, played their ass off through 2K20 through 2K21, have been burnt out. I think a lot of people that quit during endgame of last year have not come back yet. They might come back later. We still don't have the Christmas noobs in. We still have a lot of things. The problem is I do think that we're going to get less of a boost with Christmas noobs this year. I think the spot we're in right now, the closest this feels in terms of people around my team, this feels like 2K18 in the way that everything was just on an upwards trajectory through 2K17, and then we hit a huge backwards step in 2K18. And I feel like in terms of the relevance of the mode, it feels like it's 2K18. I'm looking on Google Trends. We haven't seen trends like this since early 2K19. 2K19 was a step up from 18, but early 2K19 was bad as well. We haven't seen trends like this in a long time. And when the player base is smaller, it's unfortunately the competitive players who are, because again, when there's the player base, then you split that player base amongst people that just play for fun and are oblivious, and people are looking for information. Then you split that information, and people are looking for information, looking for high level information. And you split that again, for people who want high level information, people want to comp. So when the player base gets smaller, the amount of people that are being exposed to competitive games gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And yes, there is still an audience, but the audience is dropping. I can see competitive MyTEAM. I don't think it's ever going to die completely. I do think, in reality, in any video game or any scenario where people can play one-on-one with each other, there's always going to be competition. But I don't see MyTEAM tournaments being what they once were. I think the 250 is the most. I think this year's 250 will be probably the most dead 250 there's been since 2K20. I think the strides that were made forward in it over the 2 years are we're kind of going to take a step back for the first time in a while because of the game. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys watch any Comp MyTEAM? Because I can't watch it anymore. I used to sit down and watch Comp MyTEAM almost every day. I used to love it. I think 2K19, 18, I used to love watching Comp MyTEAM. I genuinely cannot sit through a game of Comp MyTEAM anymore. I hate it. I cannot sit through a game watching people play this game anymore. I genuinely hate watching two high-level players playing against each other because it is one of the worst. I just get angry. I just get angry even watching Comp MyTEAM. Let me know how you guys feel. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? But I'm just looking at numbers. I'm seeing, obviously, you're going to be like, oh, Splash is killing it. Splash is killing it because he's Splash, not for competitive. I'm seeing numbers kind of down across the board when tournaments are on. Whereas, previously, you would think as the year went on, it would get a bit higher. These views and stuff are getting a little bit higher, but it doesn't seem like it here. Really doesn't seem like it. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.